It was until ancient times and valid at time and time. And this is a story of a rich merchant who used to sell and buy gold, jewelry, silk, diamonds, and all other precious stones. Used to export and import them in large quantities. This merchant was called Ayub the merchant. He also used to accompany all the ministers of the city. And among those ministers, there was one who used to be close to the king. Actually, he was his friend, and the king himself trusted him in return. But this minister hated Ayub so much that one day he asked him to lend him some money. It was actually a big fortune, to lend him 1,000 golden coin. Ayub was hesitating at first. He couldn't say yes or no, so at the end he started buying everything he had, buying and renting all his shops, his diamonds, his gold, till he got nothing left. At the time, he gave him that money on the condition that he will pay him back after 1 month's delay. He accepted, and each one of them took his personal way. Days passed and the month is over. Ayub went directly to the minister for his money, but the minister was or didn't give him a single penny, claiming that he has no money and that he pay him back as soon as possible. Though the minister actually was procrastinating paying back his debt. One day the merchant went to see the minister at his palace for his money, of course, but he was neglected, disregarded by the minister, claiming that he's not of his level and that he is a liar. So he kept insulting him, and at the end he refused to pay him his money. So he ordered his guards to just kick him away or kick him out. He was going crying and feeling the bitterness of betrayal and injustice. As he was going, people were like looking at him in a pity and feeling sorry for him. But they didn't know what's the matter with him till he was stopped by a man. He told him everything that happened to him with the minister. And the man suggested that he will go to the ministers and the superior minister of the city and just tell him or them his own problem. The merchant did so. He went to the first minister. So as the merchant was going to the prime minister, he just couldn't believe that this was coming from the minister himself. How come a minister that, like in his position can do something bad to the merchant? This is like unbelievable. This is nonsense. So when he was at the prime minister's room or score's room, he told him exactly the same story from the beginning till the end. I can do nothing for you. You just deal with the fact that you will never have your money back, the prime minister said. That minister is no joke. If he turns against us, we're dead, both of us. So the merchant turned to the judge, but in vain. He was seeking for justice, but in vain. So after all, nobody dared to face that minister. The merchant, or our merchant, felt so oppressed. He was crying. He went directly to the mosque. He was sitting there, crying, and he just couldn't bear such a grieving oppression. So as he was sitting and crying, he was thinking of what to do, but nothing came out to his mind. At that very moment, a man was passing by, and he saw him. Like he saw how he is so, like, so sad, how his face was so pale, and just like thought that maybe he could just like comfort him, maybe he could like just talk to him somehow. So he went directly to him, just trying to talk to him, like to start an empty talk with him, but in vain. But the man insisted on just talking to him, just for the sake of like consolation and the relief of suffering. But the merchant didn't want to talk or to listen. Yet the man again insisted on making him talk. So at the end, he start like asking him some random questions, just like that. And the man started like crying. He couldn't resist. And he told him the story like from the beginning till the end. How he was going to, or how he was abused by the first minister. And how he went direct to the other minister. But he couldn't help him. To the judge, the same thing, in vain. And the man started thinking, I have literally sold everything I had just to give that merchant or that minister the 1,000 golden coin. But he refused to pay me back. He even sent his guard to beat me. Did you go to the prime minister or the judge? The man asked. Yes, I did, but in vain. They couldn't help me. See, this is oppression. When nobody can support you, when no one can help you. This is indeed oppression. When you are abused and you can do nothing to help it. This is indeed tyrannizer. I'll show you where to go, the man said. Do you see that man sitting over there on that corner? And he pointed at his left. The man looked and he saw an old, humble man. He was actually a tailor. That man can solve your problem. What are you saying now? Are you making fun of me? No, I'm not. Do you think that I'm lying to you? Yes, I think so. As I told you that I went to the prime minister and he couldn't help me. I went to all the judges of the city. They couldn't do anything to help me. And now you're suggesting that I go to that old humble tailor over there? I mean, with no offense? Yes, that man can help you. You just go and tell him your story. You have nothing to lose. And the man left. Ayub started thinking about that. He was so disappointed. Like, I mean, he has nothing to left after all. He kept thinking that if he just like went to the tailor and told him the story, he may help him, he may not, he was not sure, but he was his last and only hope. So he was going till he came across, or till he was inside the tailor shop. At that time he said to him, "Peace be upon you." The tailor rose his head and he saw the merchant. He started crying with tears because he was so oppressed. And he started telling him the story without being asked to. The tailor couldn't stand it. He was just hearing the story. So after hearing all the story, the tailor bursted with anger, and he turned to his boy and he told him, "You go to that minister and tell him that I, the master tailor, and the muezzin of the mosque swear that if you don't pay back your debts, I'm going to tower and I will call people for prayer. Now you go!" He was screaming and shouting. The boy was running to the minister's palace, and once he got there, he managed his way inside the palace till he met the minister in person. The minister couldn't believe that. "Who are you?" he was saying to the boy. "And how did you get inside my palace?" Guards, wait, I've just came to deliver a message to you from my master." "And who is your master?" "My master is the tailor and the muezzin." As soon as he heard him saying those words, the minister started shaking. Clearly he was scared, he was terrified. And he started collecting those money and filling some big bags with them and putting those bags on the backs of donkeys, camels, horses, and he went directly to see the tailor. At that time, Taylor was sitting next to the merchant. They were like exchanging some talks till the minister was there, and he went inside. He was shaken, so scared, so terrified. Why are you scared? Come inside and have a seat, the tailor said. The minister was so scared and he sat, shaken, with not like saying anything, remaining silent. Does this merchant owe you something? The tailor said to the minister. Yes, sir, 1,000 golden coin, and I was all about to send him his money. And where are the money now? They're over there, all counted. I swear to God that all counted. Do you know that I was all about to go to the tower and call people for prayer? I beg you not to, sir. Just go away, leave me alone. And the merchant was like hearing everything, and he couldn't believe that. He couldn't understand how come a simple, humble old man, old tailor, embarrasses that minister in this way. This is nonsense. This is unbelievable. So he just like took his money and he left. Till he got home, he knocked on the door. The wife opened the door. She was so surprised, like seeing her husband with the money all counted. She didn't believe a single thing. Here the merchant told her like everything, all the same story, from the beginning till the end. And she suggested that he would go and take some like dish, just to share a dish with the tailor. So the merchant holding like 4 fried chicken with some bread, and he took him directly to the tailor. As soon as the tailor saw that dish, he said to the merchant, "Are you bribing me now?" "No, sir, I just thought that maybe we can share some food together and we can talk, that's all. If that's all, or if that's the case, come and have a seat." And they sat, the 3 of them, the tailor and the boy and the merchant. "Can I ask you something?" "Go ahead." "I just didn't understand how come a simple, humble like tailor like you, I mean with no offense, embarrasses the minister in that way. I mean, I've went to the judges, the other ministers, and they didn't dare to face the man. And you just like talk to him in that way, like you just embarrassed him. How come? What's behind you, sir?" And here the tailor started laughing. Do you also want to hear my story?" "Yes, sir. Come closer to me. As you know, I'm just a simple dressmaker, and I'm the muezzin of the neighborhood at the same time. Just came one day after like Isha's prayer, Isha, which is like the last prayer of the day. I was sitting in the mosque till everyone like finished their prayers. Till everyone finished their prayers and left, I was sitting all alone. And at that time, I saw the police chief, a bad guy that nobody not loved at all. He was so vicious, full of hatred, that he enjoyed abusing people for no reason. It was so oppressive. I still remember that day when he was abusing a beautiful lady. She was a widow with her young children. He was drunk that day and he was abducting her to his place. Clearly, he wanted to rape her. She was unarmed and she couldn't defend herself. She started screaming, shouting, calling for help, but no one answered, but in vain. I wanted to do something, but I didn't know what to do. That man wasn't the kind of the man that you would just want to talk to. So I was worried, thinking of what to do, hoping that he just will let her go. I was literally counting every minute till it was 1 a.m. And that time, at that very moment, an idea came up to my mind. I thought maybe I just like will go to tower. I just will call people for prayers, and the bad guy would just think that it's already morning. That was my intention. So I went direct to the tower. I started calling people for prayers. At that time, at that moment, just happened that the king himself heard me pray, like calling people. I thought maybe that something bad is happening to me, or maybe just I was drunk, or I don't know what he was thinking about me that time. So he just like sent his guards to me, and they captured me. And that was my best moment, like my best chance. When I was like facing the king, I told him exactly the same story, from the beginning till the end. He couldn't believe me at first. What are you telling me now? The king said. Are you telling me that one of my men, one of my guys, is doing something like that without me knowing about it? I will send my guys with you, and if it turns that you're lying, I will cut off your head. Do you understand? He said, yes, yes, your majesty, yes. And he sent his guard with me. We went all together to the man's house. The guard knocked on the door. At first, the bad man didn't want to answer. So just like opened the door, and he saw his friends, the other like guards. Where's the lady? The guards asked. He didn't want to talk. So they start like beating him up. We said, where's the lady? Are you beating me? I'm your chief. I'm your friend. Not today, man. Not today. Where's the lady? And they like went inside the house. They were checking the house room by room, till the kitchen, till they went inside, like the basement. They saw the lady like she was tied up. Did he hurt you? No, I was holding a knife, and I've threatened him that if he came closer to me, I will kill myself. So he couldn't. The guards went back to the king along with the man and the lady, just to confirm that everything that man said was true. So the king here like put the man on the in the prison, so that the next day he will be brought before judiciary to look into his matter. He also made me stay that night in his palace, so that I'll witness everything concerning this man's trial. Next day he called me, and the room was full of judges and ministers and everything, and all accusations against the man turned to be true. So he was executed. This was a lesson for him, or for anyone who take advantage of the law and authority as a mean to force and conquer people. And from then, the king charged me to go to the tower if anyone dared to do something bad. That's why that minister you've seen was afraid of me. And from that day on, no one ever dared to violate the law in the city. Everyone in that city lived in tranquility, in peace, in harmony, in prosperity, and they lived happily ever after. Thank you so much for your attention. Thank you.
Isn't it wonderful that we can travel to Marrakesh? And the tellers from the Clock Cafe, the storytelling has been going on for a few years now. And we can listen to those tellers, but those tellers don't have the benefit of social security or anything else. So whatever you put in the hat will go directly to the tellers from the Clock Cafe. And we appreciate you listening to the stories. Now, if you can afford it, show your appreciation by dropping a little in the hat for those wonderful tellers from the Clock Cafe in the Casbah.